Welcome to Around the World 2.0. I ended last year's video saying I didn't know if I'd feel the need to go around the world again anytime soon, and well, that lasted about a year. Version 2.0 features new locations posing some new challenges to navigate, but fortunately I learned a lot last year, and despite the familiar feeling of chasing sleep whenever I could get it, this circumnavigation was somehow even more successful and more exciting than the last. So let's jump right into it after hopping a couple trains to JFK Airport. Around the World Travel Blog 2.0. So I'm going around the world again, as you can see, and got my jet lag hat as is required in honor of all the jet lag I will experience over the next week plus, closer to 9 days this time. And this one's going to be a little crazier than last year, I think. Hopefully you find it fun. Hopefully I find it fun. It's going to be a little bit more intense, I think, a little bit more advanced traveler kind of trip. I'm in the Turkish Airlines lounge. As you can see, there's a Turkish Airlines plane. It is not my plane. It is going to Istanbul. I am not going to Istanbul. You'll learn along the way where I'm going. I'm going to just keep it a surprise, and yeah, hopefully you have fun. Hopefully I have fun, and see how it goes. Well, those are definitely some JFK Terminal 1 destinations. I'm going to one of those. Fortunately, not one of the ones that are canceled. There's been a few flights canceled, I think because of the international jet fuel situation. Fortunately, mine is not canceled. So, yeah, that's good news. First stop, Cairo, Egypt. I had business class on this long-haul flight, so of course, got to start out with the pre-departure beverage, as always. And just like that, we're on our way. What's up, friends? Hello from business class on Egypt Air. This trip has actually already started out way better than expected. So I originally booked this flight. It was on a 777 from JFK to Cairo. And the 777 on Egypt Air is kind of well known as being a not particularly good business class product. Not that I care. Like, business class is amazing to me no matter what. But the seats don't lie flat, and you got somebody sitting right next to you, and so whatever, I didn't care. But as it turned out, I got on this plane and it was an A350, which is a big deal because it's brand new planes. Egypt Air just got these planes. The first ever flight from JFK to Cairo on the A350 was yesterday. This is the second flight. So it's got these beautifully new business class pods. Super lucky for me to have that happen. So I just had my meal. It was amazing. It was very good. Some lamb chops, some dessert, some snacks. The service on this flight has been amazing. The flight attendant's been giving me everything I want all the time. They have, you'll see the pictures, they've got these, the salt pepper shakers are little pyramids. So that's very cool. She gave me an extra set just as a souvenir because I said they were cool. She's like, let me get you a brand new set. You can bring them home. So that was nice, very nice of her. I have PJs. Long flight, give you free PJs in business class. That's always exciting. That doesn't happen very often, but a wise man in first class on a flight to Australia once told me and Alex that all the pros jam me up. So if they give you PJs, you got to put the PJs on. It's like a requirement. So of course, I have jammied up with the PJs. So yeah, watched the movie. I watched The Dirty Dozen, which I've never seen before. Good old war movie. I feel like my grandfather would have loved that movie. He probably did. So that was great. And now it is time to go to sleep. I think I've got like 5 more hours of the flight, so I'll be able to get a good amount of nap anyway. I'll get into a hotel as soon as I get there. We're supposed to land at like 6 and change in the morning, and so I'm going right to a hotel to get some actual sleep if I'm tired. The flight that I have tomorrow is it's actually at like 8 p.m. out of Cairo. I kind of want to change it. There's an earlier flight at 1 p.m. I don't really realistically know that I would make that flight if I went to the pyramids, even got like an hour nap, and then went to the airport. I'm guessing I probably won't. So as of right now, I'm guessing I'm probably going to be on the 8 p.m. flight, take the opportunity to sleep, go see the pyramids, come back. The only real downside of that is I'd have a pretty late night drive from where I'm going to my next stop. So that's tough. So at least I will have had at least some sleep earlier in the day if I do that late night flight before that drive. So it's kind of 6 of one, half dozen the other. It's either I get very little sleep, drive during the daytime, or sleep during the day and drive at night. So it'll give me some more time to see the pyramids. I'll be able to see Cairo a little more, make my own mind up on Cairo. It's got a bad reputation for tourism, but I want to see it for myself. So that's the plan, at least for now. We'll see what happens when I get there. If I'm not tired at all, maybe I'll just speed run the pyramids. Maybe I'll see if I can get on that 1 p.m. flight. Whatever. Anyway, bedtime for me. I'll catch you in the morning from Cairo, Egypt. Good morning. Long flight, but a good flight. Got a little bit of a snooze. It is morning time. Not too much you can see down there right now. Pretty good blanket of clouds. The sun's coming up. But we are over Egypt, actually. We are currently, we're really close to Alexandria, which is obviously a good place for me. But yeah, we are coming toward Cairo, landing probably in like 25 minutes, I think, a little less than that. The plan, I think, is going to be get out of here as fast as possible, get to the hotel that I have booked. I booked it for the last night and the coming night, since I'm going to be here for like a weird, like 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. kind of thing. It was really cheap, so it didn't cost that much more to do that. So I'm going to go there. I think I'm going to go sleep. And then after I sleep, I think we're going to go see the pyramids, and then we're going to go somewhere else. So pretty whirlwind day, but that's the plan for once we get off this plane. I made it. First one off the plane, for the most part. Gonna go through immigration, gonna go to a hotel, I'm gonna go to sleep. I was warned that this place was built different. It is definitely built different. You pretty much get instantly accosted leaving the airport by potential taxis. But it's part of the fun, really. You just kind of have to act like a New Yorker. The earbuds, I think, make a big difference because they think I'm just completely ignoring them, which I am, but they don't think I'm really being rude, even if I'm not really being rude, I'm just not interested in their hawking services. So anyway, waiting for my Uber, go to my hotel, fun times. The hotel appears to be in this very nondescript building, which, to be fair, I was not warned about, but I was told about. So I know I'm in the right place. But it's up toward the top of this building. It has very good reviews, so I'm not concerned about this at all. This is actually exactly what I was expecting. So. How's this for an amazing view from the hotel? This is from their rooftop terrace where they serve breakfast. That's where I'm at right now. Here for breakfast. It's coming out shortly. I've got a nice mango juice, fresh mango juice. This place is pretty sweet. I am very thrilled with this place. It's pretty quiet. I think tourism is probably down for obvious reasons. The war and the gas prices, everything. I don't think anybody from Europe is here. I think all of the European flights got canceled to the Middle East. But I'm here. There's a couple families from Asia that are here in the restaurant for breakfast. I'm just hanging out, enjoying the view. This is pretty sweet. It's kind of culture shocking in a fun, exciting way. I'm going to decide after I eat breakfast if I'm going to go to the pyramids first or if I'm going to nap first, but I'll do those in some order after this. After eating, I decided to push on through and go straight to the pyramids. I did that because I figured I'd get the most sleep that way, getting back to the hotel without having to guess how long I'd need at the pyramids before rushing back to get to the airport for my next flight. Plus, honestly, it was going to be a bit cooler out in the morning, so I figured that would work out better. Get a load of this. at the pyramids. This is awesome. This is like really awesome. I don't even know what to say. I can't believe I'm here. I just got on a flight last night. Now I'm at the pyramids. Wow. You know what maybe the craziest part of this is? Like, here's the pyramids. It's like amazing. And like, so is this. This city's just right there. There's a Sphinx right there. But yeah, the city's just there. Pyramids are just right at the edge of Giza, the city itself. It's pretty wild. Damn. There go my plans for the afternoon. So I guess you can kind of climb the pyramid. You have to climb this to get to the entrance tunnel to get into the Great Pyramid. So I guess you get to climb it a little bit. That's pretty exciting. It's pretty wild to me that you're allowed to go all the way into the King's Burial Chamber in the Great Pyramid. But oh boy, it is not for the claustrophobic. It's one heck of a tight climb with only one way in and out. And it's way more hot and humid inside the pyramid than it is outside. I mean, Jesus. Oh, you got like climb. Holy crap. This is crazy. Looks like it's just flat walkway. But like, it's this steep. With the angles of the rocks. Kind of make you just off balance. Because it looks like it's flat. It is not flat at all. And back down. And finally, we have made it. Dehumidifiers everywhere. That's hilarious. There's a sarcophagus. I did it. Woo! That was pretty cool. The sarcophagus inside was pretty sweet. If there was nothing in there, it would have been like, aw, but the fact that there's a sarcophagus in there was pretty sweet. It was definitely humid. It was hot in there, but it was humid. It's not humid outside here. It's like the nicest Connecticut summer day you'll ever get. It's like 78 degrees and the dew point's like 50. So it's like, it's gorgeous out. So you got out of the tunnel where it was hot and humid, and my linen clothes, or my linen mix clothes, I mean, they're already drying out, and I feel nice and cool because of the sweat evaporating off the clothes, which is how it's supposed to work. So that was great. I did it. I'm very glad. There's the pyramid. I'm leaving. Actually, I gotta see the Sphinx first. Then I'm leaving back to the hotel. Let's take one final look at the past. And we're out. Here's something that was a common occurrence on this trip, really one of my favorite things. Using Google Translate to communicate with locals who don't speak a single word of English.
I play football in this club every Friday.
Hello everybody, status check and Cairo report. So I got my nap in, that was critical. I'm gonna have a decently long drive tonight after dark, so I wanna be able to stay awake for that for sure. I've got my buddy Crocanana with me. Crocanana has made the trip. He went around the world with me last time, and he's coming this time. So this is from the balcony of my hotel, the Holy Sheet Plus, as you may have seen in the photos. It's a great hotel. The reviews were really high, and I can see why. The people here are super nice at this hotel. No pressure for tips for like every little thing. Like a lot of places, like the tipping and asking for money and trying to sell you stuff is like kind of out of control in Cairo. But this hotel has none of that, so it's a nice place to just escape. Now, granted, I was only here for, half a day, so. But now, unfortunately, I'm leaving, so I'm leaving my very nice hotel. I have a flight in about 3 hours, so I'm gonna go grab an Uber and get down there so I don't miss my flight. Gonna grab some Egyptian coins, maybe from the front desk or from a shop while I'm waiting for the Uber, because I think there's only like 3 of them in circulation, and I collect foreign coins, so I'm gonna do that. I also wanted to just give a quick report on Cairo, because I know it has a bit of a bad reputation for tourism just because of people kind of harassing you all the time, and that's true. People do harass you all the time. It's really the worst at the airport, especially when you first land. It's the first thing you walk out of security and you're just immediately accosted by a bunch of people who don't really leave you alone, and they kind of follow you a little bit, asking you to like take their cab. I had my earbuds in. I think that may have helped a little bit, but also just do the New York thing of ignoring people, and that helped. But once you leave the airport, I mean, they're still everywhere, and it's still kind of bad with how people are harassing you, but it didn't bother me that much. It didn't ruin my visit, for sure. I think you just really have to go right into the mindset of, I'm ignoring people. If somebody says anything, you just kind of give them the no thanks. Don't even look at them, give them the wave of the no thanks. And that waved most people off. So that was good. You really kind of have to come in with a plan and expect it. Otherwise, I can see how people would be overwhelmed and really not like it here. I have to say, I really liked it here. All of the Uber drivers were very, very friendly. Nobody harassed me for tips in the Ubers. And I think the cab drivers are probably a little worse because there's no set price in the app. So the Uber drivers were very nice. Didn't speak much English. A couple of them would translate with me on Google Translate, and they loved it, and they were so happy to just chat with me in the cab ride, and that was it. They weren't looking for anything other than that. And like I said, the hotel people were just outstanding. Really, really kind people. And even the people who are trying to get you in their cab or get you to do a guide, to take them as a guide, they're friendly, and I think it's just part of their culture to, you're trying to sell stuff and negotiate stuff constantly. And if I had time to go through, the bazaar, that would, I think, just be part of the visit to the bazaar, and it would be part of the fun to me. So, yeah, it was definitely not harming my enjoyment of Egypt at all, and overall I'm very happy to have been here. And would more than a day, maybe would it start to grate on you? Maybe. For a day trip, but a day stop in Cairo to visit the pyramids, it was awesome and worth it, and I would absolutely, for example, recommend Alex to do it for a day. Maybe I wouldn't say Alex should go by herself, she should come with me. But yeah, it was a good visit. So I'm gonna go grab my Uber, I'm gonna go grab my bags, I'm gonna go see if I can get them coins. Gonna go to the airport, gonna go get ready for my next flight, and you can follow along and see where that is going to be. Alright, through passport control, through security, and going on one of these very few flights that leave here tonight. It's kind of late. It's like the flight is 8:40 p.m. So, I mean, it's not that crazy late. But anyway, I'm going on one of these flights. I have a little bit of time to go to the lounge, and then you can see where I'm going. Time to go. Next stop, Amman, Jordan. Last year, after I planned out my trip, I got it in my mind that I had to stop at the Great Wall of China. This year, the same thing happened with Petra. If I was already going to be in the Middle East, and I was already targeting world wonders, how could I skip one of the coolest ones of them all? No need for business class on such a short flight, so sadly, no departure beverage this time. Going to Jordan. This flight was only like an hour and change, but that left plenty of time for us to pass through the snack zone, baby. These international flights give you a pretty decent snack or meal on even the shortest of flights. This piece of cake and flatbread were plenty good, but the star of the show was this mint lemonade. I found this stuff everywhere in the Middle East. We need to make this more of a thing in America.
If this is your final destination,
Amman, Jordan. I gotta get out of here as fast as possible, because I gotta drive 2.5 hours to Petra. So I'm gonna go do that. We'll check in later. This was one of the few parts in my travel plans where I was a little, I wouldn't say concerned, but let's say more aware of the circumstances. My only real option to get to Petra in time to actually walk through the park was to take a late flight that landed in Amman at 11 p.m. and make the long drive through the desert in the middle of the night. Physically, I was still mostly on East Coast time, and I had my late nap in Cairo, so I wasn't really worried about being tired. But planning on driving through the middle of nowhere in a foreign country in the middle of the night definitely had me researching beforehand to make sure the roads were safe and well traveled and that I wouldn't be in any crime-heavy areas. Drive successful from Amman Airport all the way down here to Wadi Musa, Jordan, and I'm pretty sure I'm right across the street from Petra, actually. I'll show you guys that. I think those lights right down at the bottom are the entrance to Petra, which is pretty good. It's right across the street pretty much from me, so it's a big deal because I don't have a lot of time tomorrow at all. So I originally had a flight that was at like 8 p.m. out of Amman. That flight got canceled. Then I had a flight that was at like 5 p.m. That flight got canceled. So now I'm on my third flight and it's at like 3:10 p.m. And it's a 2 hour and 40-minute drive back up to Amman. It's almost 3 a.m. right now. I should get like 4 hours of sleep. I'm planning on getting up at like 7, have about, let's say 3 hours in the park. That's a little bit of a speed run, but I should be able to see, you know, the big important stuff, see the treasury, see the street of facades. I should be able to see a decent amount of stuff in that amount of time. Maybe get breakfast too. And then get right back to this hotel, get back in that rental car, drive right back up to Amman. 2 hour and 40-minute drive to get my flight to my next stop. Good morning. I just walked into security of the park where the guy just waved me through and told me I didn't have to do anything at all in the metal detector. And there's not a soul in here. It's 7 a.m., so it's pretty early. But I literally still haven't seen a single person other than the like 2 shopkeepers that I've seen. So I think it's going to be pretty empty in here. Sweet Jordanian flag. And I think this is the entrance. Wow. Well, I was right. It is completely deserted. I don't know if it's just because it's 7 a.m. or if it's also because tourism is down like crazy around here. I know that it is, but there's nobody in here. So far, I've seen 3 of the horse guides. They, tried to stop me to get me to rent the horse, but I didn't want to, and they weren't very insistent. So maybe it's because it's early, but yeah, there's nobody here. So this is going to be pretty awesome. This rocks. Even in normal times, there are a few places in the world with a big reveal quite like this one. But to walk out of this canyon through to one of the 7 wonders of the world and have it all to myself without another soul in sight, I doubt I'll have many more moments like this in my lifetime. Total silence but for the wind and my footsteps and the distant birds echoing through the canyon. It was pretty indescribable. Made it to the treasury. There's a guy in there. Not a tourist. It's the guy working. But hopefully he's penitent. That's a good reference. I mean, really, there is just nobody here. This is just crazy. This is awesome over here. It's an amphitheater. I like that. What's up, guys? How's it going? This is so cool. This is the Great Temple. This temple really is just magnificent. I mean, this is just every bit as cool as anything else in this park. I can't believe you could just walk in here and walk around and on it. It's crazy. I mean, this is just really, really cool. Yeah, this is just awesome. I can't believe I can just walk on this. I'm literally on the temple steps. This is just great. This is so great. Well, what to say about that? Petra is so much more than just the treasury. I knew that, but until you actually come here, you don't really know that. I mean, the scale of it is just it's just so amazing. I haven't seen a soul here. I saw 3 people in one group as I was walking through the canyon. That was it. I walked all the way in to the monastery trail, but didn't do the monastery trail. I don't have time. And now I'm starting to walk back, walking past the temple here, which was my favorite part. Other than that first group that I saw right as I was coming in, not a single other tourist. And it's early, but it's not that early. So this is a pretty special day having this place all to myself. I mean, just as far as the historical vibe of the place, it's really similar to like Pompeii, which is interesting because they're almost like identical time periods. I think they're within decades of each other of when this existed with civilization and when Pompeii had the eruption from Vesuvius. So it's sort of a similar vibe. Pompeii obviously is preserved from the ash, so it's a little different. But this just feels older. I mean, with everything carved into the rock, it feels like it should be 20,000 years old instead of 2,000 years old. But man, this has been so cool. This is one of my favorite places I've ever been. I was really looking forward to this. And it wasn't even on my original plan for this around the world trip. But I just got it in my head that I had to come here. And wow, was it worth changing everything around just to make sure I could be here. Despite the flight changes I had, I was able to see just about everything I wanted to see in my morning at Petra without rushing through. And I even had time to get back to the hotel for breakfast. Ladies and gentlemen, with this breakfast fit for a king, it is necessary that we enter the snack zone. One thing I've learned here is that the Arabic world does not mess around when it comes to breakfast. I had a similar spread like this in Cairo. This one's even crazier. But what do we got over here? We got this lentil soup, which I also had in Cairo. I was a really big fan of that. That was delicious. Got a great omelet here. The bread, I've already kind of wolfed down some of the bread, but a couple really good croissants. Got some pickles. Freshly squeezed orange juice is a big deal for me. Got some cheeses. Got a hard-boiled egg, and I think this is metzi. I forget what this is called, but yeah, this is quite a spread, and. Yeah, this is gonna work out for me. Yeah, gonna have this snack zone situation wrapped up here in a little bit, and then head back to the airport within the next 40 minutes or so. The drive back to Amman ended up being one of those you'll remember this forever events. First of all, the views of Wadi Musa on the way out of town were awesome, but I stumbled upon a parade in one of the small towns on the way out. I'll explain in a video from the airport. Made it back to Amman Airport. After a lengthy drive, a very, very fun and interesting drive. I'll put up another video here in a second and some other videos from what occurred. It was awesome, but I'll get into that in a second. Right now, I am going to my gate, and you can guess where I'm going. I don't know if you will guess, but wow, Washington, that's an interesting one. I'm not going to Washington, D.C., I can tell you that. And all of these are in Arabic, so now I can't read them. Come back. English. There we go. I'm going to one of these places, and it's going to be very fun. Some of these places, I don't even know where they are. I don't know where Larnaca is. But, yeah. I will put up another video here in a second and then show you what happened on my drive up here, which was one of the coolest things I ever saw. Okay, story time. So I'm driving from Wadi Musa up here to Amman Airport, and I'm driving through this tiny little town in the middle of nowhere. And all of a sudden, there's a bunch of people just start congregating in the middle of the road. Like kids in like Boy Scout looking uniforms, I don't know if they're school, military uniforms, whatever. Adults in some other uniforms, and they're all waving Jordanian flags. And there's a couple like banners at the front of this pack of people. It looks like a parade forming. And so for a split second, my thought was, uh-oh, is this like an angry gathering of some kind, or is this a happy gathering? But it was very clear very quickly this is a happy gathering. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. The police officers in front of the parade were just kind of shoving all the cars to the side of the road while this was starting to occur. So I pull over, I roll my window down, and I just kind of start watching what's happening. So pretty quickly, a couple of the adults, they notice me taking pictures and recording, and they just kind of start waving, and they say, Jordan, Jordan, and they're waving their flags. And so I just shouted back, I love Jordan, I love Jordan. And oh my God, these people were absolutely delighted to see this American shouting, I love Jordan. A bunch of them just kind of started walking over to the car and like started shaking my hand and saying, Jordan, Jordan, and welcome, welcome, welcome. And so I'm just sitting there like loving this. A couple of the kids like see me, they give me a couple of their flags. So then a few more people walk by, and then every once in a while I'll just kind of take the flag and wave it out the window. And every time I did that, all the people were like, yeah, they could tell I wasn't Jordanian, but they loved that I was waving these flags and saying, I love Jordan. I mean, they were amped about it. So I've got a few videos of it I'm going to put up right now. It was, honestly, it was one of the highlights of the whole trip. It was so cool. Okay, who is ready for the next leg of the journey? Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. This one's just a bit of a lengthy layover. I'll have like 5 or 6 hours there, something like that. I haven't done the math yet. That'll be a fun little stopover. I was supposed to be there for a lot longer than this. I was supposed to be there for a full day for the Formula One race, but they canceled the Formula One race because of the war. So it just so happened that I ended up getting a layover there as part of this trip. So at least I still get to see it. I wish all flights could be like this. I had a whole row to myself, so I just laid out, put the headphones on, and jammed out to some music for an hour. Sweet. While landing in Jeddah, I could see this insane Eye of Sauron looking tower that looked so out of place out in the distance. Turns out that's Jeddah Tower, which when completed will be the tallest building in the world at a full 1 kilometer tall. Pretty wild. All right, hello from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. I didn't really come here with much of a plan. Originally, I was coming for the Formula One race. That got canceled, and then I ended up having a layover. So, wow, this is actually a really nice airport. Sweet. But yeah, I have like 8 hours for this layover. So I actually went to the airport hotel first, was able to drop my bag off, and I'm gonna be able to go out for a few hours, come back and get a good nap, which is big because my flight is 3 hours and 45 minutes after this, and while I have business class, there's not a ton of time for sleep. So the first thing I wanna do is, there's a mosque that's floating on the Red Sea. So I really think I want to see that. And then if I have some time, maybe I'll go down to the old town and maybe like get something to eat down there or something. I don't know if I'm gonna have the time to do that and come back and sleep. So we're gonna play it by ear and see how that goes. Interesting problem to have. I've never had to leave the international departures area of an airport to go out of the airport, and there's like no signs that tell you how to do that. But I asked somebody where to go and they told me where to go. It's like this hidden escalator out of here. So that was a fun little thing that I've never had to deal with before. I'm on the air train, ground train, whatever, to the arrivals area. It was actually a lot more complicated getting out of that terminal than I think I expected. I had to go out through like basically an emergency exit kind of, and then I had to go backward through security and the metal detectors, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, they told me to come this way. I'm trying to get to immigration." And so they're like, "Oh yeah, no problem." And they just had me walk back into the metal detector. So that was interesting. But everything worked out. I got to this train, so now I'm with the rest of the crowd going to baggage claim and going to immigration. Made it to the floating mosque, Al Ramah Mosque. I think I might be saying that wrong. It's right on the Red Sea. It's beautiful. The whole area around here is beautiful. We got the sun setting. There's a boardwalk, coastal walk. Formula One track is right there. This is a great area. So I'm actually gonna go into the mosque. I've never been into a mosque before, but this seems like a good one to do that since it's gorgeous, pretty famous, and I think that there's a decent number of tourists who go to visit it. So I doubt I'm going to record. There might be a place where it's okay to take pictures. We'll see, but I'm gonna go check that out and show some respect for my Muslim brothers. Well, that was very nice. It was very serene. It really wasn't all that dissimilar from just a Christian church service, or at least a Catholic church service. There was actually a prayer service going on. There was an imam leading prayers and doing his chants, and that was nice. There were a couple areas where I could just kind of stand respectfully in the back and take a couple of pictures. I didn't want to record anything, but there were a couple others doing the same thing. They seemed like they were possibly other Saudis, so I felt like I was not out of place. But that was nice. I enjoyed that. Well, here's a nice little unexpected perk. The Formula One track is actually still set up. Wow. So that's exciting. Check it out. I can still see the circuit at least. Man, it really is such a shame that this got canceled. I was really looking forward to this, but it's cool that I get to see the track. It's cool that I get to see the city. So, it's not a total loss. Hello from the waterfront area here in Jeddah. And you may not know this actually, but there's a very specific name for this area of Jeddah. The snack zone, baby! So I have here some chicken fries with, like, I think the guy said it was a spicy garlic topping on it. I'm excited for this. Also, there's a mint lemonade again. This is now the third time that I've seen mint lemonade, and I have to say it is a new favorite of mine. So we're gonna give this a shot, and we're gonna give a review of the chicken fries. Oh, that's good. I'm very hungry. The last thing I'm gonna do over here, I think I'm gonna grab a cab back to the airport hotel, and I'm gonna take a nap. But this is great. No, you're a very small cat, but I would like it for you to not eat my food. No, I'm sorry. No, I would prefer that you did not. You are freaking tiny. Okay, thanks for visiting, but no, you cannot have my chicken fries. Sorry. I have made a new friend, I guess. Ya boy has gotten a shave. Oh yeah. got back to the room in time to take a shower, get a shave. I have 2.5 hours I can sleep. I'm going to do that. The NASCAR race is actually starting like as we speak, but what do we do when we travel around the world? We practice self-care, and getting 2.5 hours of extra sleep is better than watching the NASCAR race, even though that would be fun. Last year, I chose to watch a Liverpool game instead of getting sleep, and my next day was a struggle. It was fun, but it was a struggle. So yeah, my next flight is it's in at 1:30 a.m. I have a couple hours I can sleep. I'm gonna do that. Once I leave, I'm gonna see if I can get some coins. I got a 50 Saudi note that I'm gonna see if I can exchange for coins before we leave. I'm gonna get a water bottle, I think, as well. I might do that when I get to the next stop. But anyway, it's gonna be just a quick nap, and then I'm literally right in the terminal, so I can leave here and just walk right to the gate. Good morning, good evening, good night, good something. It's the middle of the night. I think it's almost exactly midnight. Time for me to catch my flight. Let's take a look at the options here. Some pretty good ones, some pretty interesting ones. Go to one of these. And yeah, I have one of the Saudi coins. The lady at the front desk of the hotel had one of the coins. She just gave it to me for nothing. So I still have my 50 note. I'm gonna go try and find the rest of the coins somewhere. Maybe McDonald's. Maybe I'll go up to check out McDonald's, see if they have coins there. They might. So I might do that. See if I can get the rest of them with the 50 note that I have. Otherwise, I'm gonna head to the gate and gonna go on this flight and hopefully get a nap on this flight. I'm pretty tired still, but not too bad. I got to get a little bit of sleep. So, all right, see you at the gate. All right, party people, let's get on this flight. What? Yeah, that's a curveball, isn't it? So yeah, this was not part of the original plan. They canceled the Saudi Arabian Formula One race, and I needed to pivot. So I pivoted by deciding to go to Kenya. Why do I want to go to Kenya? Last year I went on a safari to South Africa, and that day was amazing. Like, that was just the coolest thing in the world. I don't have the time to really spend a day and a half somewhere. I kind of needed to make it sort of quick. So Kenya, Nairobi specifically, has they have a national park that's like right at the city limits of Nairobi. Like you could see the whole city from the national park. Yeah, it's like 15 minutes from the airport. So perfect opportunity to do that. I'll have most of the day, and yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. I actually have tickets to see an elephant sanctuary as well. So this is going to be a cool day. I'm really looking forward to this. This was one of those flights I wish was much longer than it was, since I needed the chance to sleep. I did have time for a quick snack zone though. Chicken kabsa, which is chicken thighs and some really good rice. Pita bread, of course. For dessert, a chocolate cappuccino mousse cake. Got a salad up there, and a couple hummus dips. No alcohol on most of the Middle Eastern flights, which works out great for me because they had some great fruit juice, which I think is preferable. Early morning arrival in Nairobi, and oh, it was an interesting experience. Boy, it was an adventure getting this rental car, let me tell you. So, landed here in Nairobi, went through immigration, got my bags and everything. The rental car place was not in the arrivals hall. There really wasn't an arrivals hall. You went through customs with your bag, and you just walked right outside. So, couldn't find the Hertz counter. There wasn't really one anywhere. First, I wanted to run to the restroom. There was no arrivals hall, so I was trying to find a restroom, and one of the folks, security folks, pointed me to, there was a restaurant kind of like at the back of the airport, and he said to go over there. And so I walked over there, and I'm getting over there, and he says, "Oh, by the way, you want to go back behind the restaurant in this dark alley, in the darkness, that's where the restroom is." And I'm like, there's no way this is accurate. So I'm just like peering around the corner, and no, sure enough, that's where the restroom was. So went to the restroom. That was part one. Part two, after the restroom, I had to call the rental car place. He told me, oh, he's in the parking garage down on the first floor or whatever, which was not really near arrivals. It was only like a 5-minute walk away, but I definitely had to call to find out where it was because there were no signs or anything. So went down there, rental car place. The guy rented me the car, was nice. no nonsense from him. He was a good dude. I got a really cool rental car. It's a Suzuki Jimny, something like that. It's got 4-wheel drive, like actual 4-wheel drive with a 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive shifter, which will be good for the national park in case it rains or something, in case there's some bad roads inside the park. It'll be easy to get around in this, so that's good. And now finally I have my car. I've got my bag. The sun is actually coming up. You can kind of see over there, the sun's coming up. And now I'm just driving over to the national park. It should only take me 25 minutes. It's 10 miles away, 19 kilometers, I guess. Definitely a fun drive over to the national park, as I actually forgot that they drive on the wrong side of the road with the steering wheel on the wrong side of the car. But I always love when that happens. Also cool is that Nairobi has these buses that all have their own special paint jobs. Very Kenyan experience. Now that is a view. That is unique. Look at these guys with the city behind them. That's wild. That's crazy. Wow. This is very, very cool. Just hanging out. Man, you guys are cool. Yes! My faves! We got hippos! We already got hippos! These guys are my favorites. They will mess up your day. Wow. I've been here like 10 minutes tops. Probably closer to 5 minutes. Already seen those giraffes. I saw Pumbas. And now I already saw my favorite guys. Wow. I'm honestly, I'm so excited. I'm so happy I did this and came here. This is wow. I'm just so excited. I'm so excited for this. Last year the safari was like unbelievably cool, and I'm just glad I decided to do it again.
Na uweze kuwa mtiifu kwa wazazi na kwa mwalimu, sawa? Na upende wenzako.
Doing a little recording while driving here. I'm going like 25 kilometers an hour here, so I'm not much of a threat to myself or others, I don't think. Boy, this is great. There's animals everywhere. I don't know if it's because it's early. I don't think I got to the national park in Johannesburg in South Africa as early as I did for this one, so maybe that's why I'm seeing more animals. But there's quite a few out there. I saw some of the antelope with the twisty horns, and saw a couple warthogs, a couple of Pumbas, saw a bunch of giraffes, and just saw a bunch of hippos. So all that in like 10 minutes. So we'll see how this goes. We'll see if it stays this way. But there's a lot of animals in here already. I mean, it's also very flat, so you can kind of see a lot further. So that might be a factor too. But I am so happy that I decided to come here and do this. I'm so happy. This is going to be such a different experience than my last few days were in cities. Alright, so I haven't really been able to find a map online of this place, so I'm just kind of winging it. I don't really know where to go. I'm just going to kind of just... Okay. Lion Valley. Yes. Say less. We're going to Lion Valley. I've decided that we have made a good decision renting a 4-wheel drive vehicle. Yes, sir! We love that. Oh yeah, we're gonna learn together whether this 4-wheel drive vehicle that I rented is gonna be able to handle this situation. Yeah, we're gonna find out together. Let's just go for it. Let's just figure it out together. Good, we're still alive. still alive. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this baby's a champ. We are rocking and rolling today, baby boys and girls. Who are you guys? I like you guys. What's up? What's up, friend? How you doing? What's up, friend? Mind if I sneak on past you? While you have your tree snack? Hi. Yeah, I mean, that looks pretty good, I'll be honest with you. That looks pretty good. I'm sure this monkey scene looks nice and peaceful to you, but my windows were down, and immediately after I recorded this clip, the monkey to the left of the adult and baby tried to climb into the car and got all the way onto the hood before I managed to close the passenger window. So yeah, that was pretty freaking terrifying. Supposedly the lions are in there somewhere, sleeping. That's what all the guides are saying. I can't see them, but apparently they're laying down. If they stand up, we'd be able to see them. But I'm not feeling super optimistic. I never did get to see those lions that were promised to me on the Lion Valley sign, so that made me 0 for 2 in finding a big cat in my 2 safari trips. It wasn't for lack of trying, though. I went down some, let's say, questionable side roads, one of which in particular was wildly muddy, and I was absolutely certain my car was going to be stuck. I bogged down in the mud once, backed it up as much as I could, prayed, and gunned it, and miraculously the thing peeled right on out of there. Thank God, because I was, looking for lions, and that wouldn't have been the best place to be stuck. From there I stuck to the better roads, but eventually it was time to head out to the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust Nursery, where I had a ticket for 1 hour to see a bunch of the orphaned animals that the trust cares for until they can be released back into the wild.
We are taking care of orphan baby elephants, orphan baby rhinos, and later on reintroducing them back into the wild. Next to me now is Muzinga, the most mischievous one, who is 3.5 years old, was rescued from Savo East Cracker Park, was found on the road all alone within the park in Savo East, while at the age of about 4 months. And that's why we rescued him, because she still needed milk. She also still needed protection.
After the visit to the nursery, I either had the option to drive into Nairobi and explore a little, or get something to eat on the way back to the airport. Given that I wanted to make a conscious decision to eat more on this trip, especially local foods, it was a no-brainer choice once I found this place called Carnivore right on the way back to the airport. This place served an all-you-can-eat feast of Nyama Choma, Kenyan-style slow-cooked barbecue. Oh my god. You get this rotating tray of various dips specialized for all the different meats, and they serve the meats on Maasai swords and keep coming at you until you take down the little flag on your tray and surrender. Oh, I ate good. We even got some free entertainment courtesy of the monkeys. These guys even put on a whole skit worthy of a Saturday morning cartoon. Okay, I am tired. It's finally starting to catch up to me. I feel great otherwise, but I have a nice long flight here where I'm going to be able to definitely take a nap in. And then once I get to my destination airport, I have a pretty long layover that I'm going to really just take advantage of sleeping entirely. So let's take a look at the departure board. One of these guys. Yeah. Oh boy, it's been a busy few days. This is kind of the midpoint of the busy part of the trip, so it's a good time to catch up on the sleep. Tomorrow should be a much easier day to handle, I think. I'm not doing quite as much, just a lot of travel really, a couple of flights and a train ride, so yeah, hopefully I'm a less tired tomorrow. All right, the flight is mostly boarded, so we gotta get going. Mumbai, India. Oh good, so as it turned out, I wasn't like the last one in there. It's just, everybody's in one of these secondary hallways because there's a big secondary screening before you get on this flight because one, you need visas, and I have my visa, otherwise, boy, that would have not been fun. You have to like have it beforehand. You cannot do a visa on arrival in India. So good thing I'm prepared, but they were checking for the visas, and then they were also checking for the yellow fever vaccination card, which I had. You have to have that if you're coming from a country that has yellow fever in it. Kenya is one of them, so I had to have my yellow fever card. So I had both of my items, and now this plane just finished unloading actually, so we should be able to get on there pretty soon, and boy, I really need a nap. I'm looking forward to that. Thank God for business class once again, because this was one of the moments where I needed sleep the most. Of course, gotta have that pre-flight beverage. One of my favorites so far, a Kenyan tea called Dawa, which was just outstanding. But after that, it was literally wheels up, recliner down, eyes closed, and wake up in Mumbai. Hello from Mumbai. As one usually does when arriving at an international airport, you're walking through a mall for some reason. But just about getting here to baggage claim and then going to go through customs. Went through immigration successfully, which was good because that was the scariest one of the trip that I was going to have to do. There's a lot that could have gone wrong there. If you didn't get your e-visa properly, that would have been no entry, and they would have not even let me on the plane. If I forgot my vaccine card, they also would not have let me on the plane. But all was good. So yeah, I actually slept a lot on that flight. I got like 4 solid hours of sleep. So that was fantastic. I'm going to the transit hotel right now, and I have my flight's like 10 hours from now, but I have to go to another airport, so I'll have to leave earlier than otherwise. But yeah, I'm gonna get a lot of sleep caught up today, which is a big deal because I was very tired. All right, going to my transit hotel, which is this way. Let me tell you something. The guy who was scanning the baggage through for customs to check and make sure people weren't bringing in stuff they weren't supposed to did not care. He was not looking at the screen as things were going across the screen. He was just sitting there on his phone. They're just one after the other. He's just completely ignoring the screen entirely. So that was pretty funny. Let me tell you how tired I was when I was leaving Nairobi. It all kind of caught up to me how tired I was. And when the woman was checking my boarding pass and everything to get on the plane, she was asking me some questions to, just determine to make sure I was allowed to get on the flight. She asked me where I arrived in Nairobi from. And I couldn't remember. I absolutely couldn't remember. And I know I've been to several places, but I could not remember that I arrived there from Jeddah. So that was a little odd. But we're good now. I got a lot of sleep, and I'm gonna get even more sleep. Today's a good sleep catch-up day. After getting a long nap on the plane, I got to dive right into a good 6 or 7 more hours of sleep at the airport hotel. Really big for the upcoming days. I even woke up early enough to have breakfast and put the TV on for a bit. So I'm finally getting to watch foreign TV here in Mumbai at the airport hotel, and this channel is hilarious. Like it's treating everything like as though the world is ending. Anyway, I guess to be fair, the world could be ending. I don't know what it says at all. Maybe the world is ending. Maybe Trump has finally gone and done the thing. I don't know. But there's just explosions on the screen, and there's fighter planes flying across. Look at that thing flying across the screen all over the place. It actually earlier it was even crazier. Like it had breaking news flashing in like 6 different parts of the screen. But this is this is pretty funny to watch. This would be crazy even by our psychotic TV news standards, I think. Hey, so I am going to get my Uber to go over to Navi Mumbai Airport. My flight actually got changed to a different airport a couple weeks ago, which is a little bit annoying. This cost me a couple hours of sleep because now I have to it'll take me like at least an hour to get over there. But hey, it'll be something different to do, I guess. Loving all the cricket highlights everywhere. There's cricket like absolutely everywhere. In the hotel's breakfast room, they had cricket highlights on and everything. And yeah, so it was cool. It's neat up here. It's the first time I've been outside since I got into Mumbai. Going with my Uber to get over to Navi Mumbai Airport. And it's very humid. It's also the air quality isn't that super good, so I can definitely tell that. But it's very very buzzing, as you would expect it to be at an airport. And it's just nice to be out in the world again. Look at these absolute units. This is great. It's a pretty neat concept here for an Uber, actually. So they have different queues for different, whatever kind of Uber you ordered, like an Uber XL. Up here is Uber Premier, which I got. And there's like the standard, like Uber Go, I think they have over there. But you end up just kind of lining up. You get your price beforehand like normal, but instead of a specific driver, you just get the next one that shows up. So, I mean, I guess it's reinventing cabs, but you also avoid the BS of, prices being not on the up and up and all that. So, I don't hate it. The ride from Mumbai to Navi Mumbai was very India, and it was definitely nice to be able to just do it from the relative calm of the back of an Uber, because from what I could tell, the city was pretty chaotic, as you'd expect. Like in Cairo, street lines were just kind of there as suggestions, and it was every man for himself getting in on a merge. Unfortunately, yes, there was a lot of poverty on display, and yes, there really is a lot of trash in the river, but as you'll see later, I do get to see some of the best of India coming up too. Have you ever stepped into an airport that's literally brand new, that they literally just started taking flights like weeks ago? Because this is the future. Look at this. This is crazy. This airport's pretty sweet. They're not even done building it. There's like whole other terminals that are still being built. And you can see people still like doing construction in this one. So I am going to Agra right now, which is where the Taj Mahal is. And of all of the flights that I have on this trip, this one is the most critical one that I have. I only have 3 hours in Agra, and then I have to catch a train to New Delhi. So if this flight was delayed at all, it's a big problem. But fortunately, knock on wood, right now it is on time. Not only is it on time, it's supposed to get in like 20 minutes early. So that would be really, really great. Hopefully it stays that way. After I go to see the Taj Mahal, I take my train up to New Delhi, and I've got a flight out to another place. But for now, here's the departure board from Navi Mumbai Airport, and I will see you on the other side. So, fun fact, many people, I would say like several people in all of the places that I visited on this trip have, when they find out that I'm American, they ask me about Donald Trump. Or like the security guy, the military guy who was checking my passport to get into this airport today he looks at it, he sees that I'm American, he goes, USA? I said, yeah. He says, Donald Trump? And I'm like, no. And he laughed, and then he said, he's not good boy. And I said, no, he's not. But that's kind of how we're known right now, is the country that elected Donald Trump. So if you like Donald Trump, I'm sorry, you know that I don't like Donald Trump. If you don't like Donald Trump, most people around the world also do not like him. That has definitely been made clear to me in all the places that I have been so far. Wow, it is hot out! Now I get to experience India. This was the most hilarious airport experience imaginable. It's a military airport, so they don't want you recording anything. From the terminal building, you walk straight out and have to take a bus, which is not free, by the way, which takes you out of the military base and just drops you in the middle of the street. At that point, you're accosted by a dozen cab drivers, all telling you to take their cab to your hotel. I, of course, was not going to a hotel, and also was smart enough to pre-book a cab for 4 hours so I could have somewhere to store my bags. More on this later, but that ended up being one of the best decisions I made all week. Anyway, my cab driver could only get so close to the Taj Mahal, so we parked in a lot and I grabbed a tuk-tuk for the last mile and a half that remained to get to the gate. This is pretty wild. So I had to leave the cab that I booked at a parking lot and take one of these rickshaws all the way to the Taj Mahal. I don't know if that's like required or not, or I think the guy was being legit, and it's like insanely cheap to get a rickshaw anyway. So I'm almost there, and it's very hot out, but it's very dry, so not too bad. I made it. This is the East Gate, I think. This is where they dropped me off, or at least close to it, and it's really quiet over here. I did read that this was the least busy gate, but it's like really quiet. It's also really hot, but it's very dry. Like it's Arizona hot. It's really, I mean, in the sun it's hot, but in the shade it's really not bad. Really not bad. So yeah, I think this is gonna work out. I think this is gonna work out. Awesome. We're here, going in. Taj Mahal is right behind this gate. I have not yet seen it. So this will be my first view at the same time as you. Oh, yes. I'm going to add, by the way, that I bought sunscreen and forgot to put on the sunscreen on the 105-degree day. That's okay. Wow. Wow, I can't believe I made it. I can't believe all of the things that had to go right for me to get here in time to actually see this. Because this was going to be a real touch and go day, and so far everything's really worked out. Man, it's crazy. It's just crazy. Yeah, I had to have my flight get on time. Had to somehow get my cab driver, and that was really difficult. There was a bus that you have to take out of the airport because it's a military base. So you have to get this bus that leaves the airport and then it drops you off just in the middle of like the street. Fortunately, I had my cab driver's WhatsApp through the company I booked it through. And eventually we found each other. He doesn't speak very much English at all, but we're using a lot of Google Translate. And it's been nuts getting over here. But it's all worked out. Everything's worked out. It's so hot that my phone stopped recording and it stopped working until it cooled off. Yeah, it's pretty hot. You might even be able to tell like the frame rate is slower. So yeah, it's toasty, but like I said before, I'm surprised at how it's just not bad. Anyway, I'm getting back to my cab here, and I bought a couple of snacks for a snack zone later. I managed to find all of the coins, which is good because one of the shopkeepers earlier at the airport said they just don't really carry coins. So I looked in one of the tiny little side shops, bought a couple of snacks, gave them 100 rupees, which is like $1, and got all of the coins and 2 snacks, and that was like a third of what it cost. So I just gave her the rest and she was happy. So nice old lady in the shop. All right, I'm in the shade now, that's nice. All right, I'm almost back to my cab and then I can finally cool off. Hello. So this is awesome and fun. This is my, what's your name?
Yeah, Robin.
Robin?
Yeah.
Robin. This is my buddy. He's my cab driver for the day here in Agra. He's helping me try and find a bookshop so we can find Harry Potter. And we're walking through one of the shopping areas, basically. There's a few in here. The first one we went to is closed, but we're gonna try again in here. There's a lot happening. Bad news was we didn't find Harry Potter, but we did get some ice cream, which, I mean, that's even better, isn't it? Walking around with Govind was the best. Once again, thank God for Google Translate, as none of this would have happened without it. He was really interested in what my life was like back home. It was one of the few times on my travels where I really felt like my life and the lives of the locals around me were so dramatically different. And just like that, after a few short hours in Agra, that was it, and it was time to head out. I was really looking forward to walking around the train station and people watching for a bit. I was also looking forward to taking the train in general while in India, since that felt like it would be one big adventure, even though, to be fair, I booked the nicest seats in the nicest high-speed train in the country. Made it back here to Agra station in plenty of time for my train up to New Delhi in about a half an hour, and this was maybe the most fun day of the trip so far, even though I only had about 3 hours here to go to the Taj Mahal and wander around. So after I met with my cab driver, who doesn't speak any English, we conversed in Google Translate the whole time, and over that time we just kind of became good buds, and he was asking me a lot of questions about stuff from back home, and it was fascinating. He asked me some things. He asked me, like, do we have a caste system in the US? So I said, no, we don't. And I was telling him about my wife, Alex, and he asked me if we had a love marriage. And I said, yes, we do. And he said, that's basically like not possible here. He said, like, a lot of girls are abducted for love marriages. And I said, well, it can't really be much of a love marriage then if they're abducted, can it? And he said, no, they're not. This train started rolling in right as I started recording the second part of this video. So I had to stop and start over again because it was very loud. But anyway, yeah, he was very interesting to talk to. And after I saw the Taj Mahal, I told him I wanted to try and find a Harry Potter book in Hindi because I collect them in foreign languages. And so what was super cool was he parked the car and just walked around with me to a couple of the bookshops that I found on Google Maps, through just like the back alley shops with just all the normal people. And that was very nice of him. And I was very comfortable walking around because I had this nice guy with me. We didn't find the book, unfortunately. Most of the places were closed, and even the ones that were open, it was clear they weren't going to have them. They were just these small shops with like used books. So I didn't find the Harry Potter book yet. But yeah, he was walked around with me. We saw there's a bunch of cows just walking in the middle of the street. So they're sacred here. They're not like pets. They're not tied up. They're just walking around free. So that was great. I loved that. So then we got to the train station, chatted a little bit more while he parked because I had a little bit of extra time. And he was very, very nice guy. I got a couple of pictures with him. I got a video with him that I think you saw just before this one. And yeah, it was a great day. I'm looking forward to getting on the train and chilling out in the air conditioning because while it's not brutally hot because of how dry it is, it's still pretty hot. It'll be nice to cool off. And I'll be able to relax for a couple hours before I get my train to my next location. So it's actually time now for me to go to my platform. It is now showing on the board up here. I don't think you can really read it, but platform 3. I'm going to head over there and relax for a while.
मतलब अब जाके लोन की सर
Well, after all the complete lack of security everywhere else I have been in India, New Delhi's airport security was the most intense I've ever experienced in any airport ever. You had to go through the metal detector and you had to put your bags through the machine, obviously. But if you left anything of any electronic ability in your bag and didn't put it in a separate tray, your bag got secondary screened. And it was basically everybody. So it took forever. And then they also wanded everybody, even though they went through the metal detector. So that was crazy, but okay. You know what? Fine. Well, I'm going to the lounge. This lounge has a shower, which is going to be great. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to go to my business class flight to somewhere you'll find out. Well, unfortunately, the showers in this lounge are booked out past midnight, and it's 10:30, and my flight is at 11:30, and that's not going to work. So I might be able to use the showers in my next airport, which is Bangkok, just for a layover. I only have like a 2.5-hour layover there, so I'm not really doing anything there. But, I mean, fortunately, this lounge is awesome. Like, this is one of the best lounges I've ever been in. There's a ton of food, like an absolute ton of all amazing Indian food. So, big fan of that. Meeting up big now, and I'm gonna not eat on the flight because this flight's like 4.5 hours and it's pretty much all the sleep I'm gonna get. So I'm just gonna ignore food on the flight and just sleep immediately. So hopefully that gives me enough to get through my day tomorrow. If I can get through tomorrow, I'll be good to go. I'm gonna get a lot of sleep for that following night and the day after that. So I wish I could take a shower, but yeah, hopefully I can in Bangkok. That'll work out if I can. You already know, but I gotta do the video anyway. See you in Thailand. Got my pre-flight beverage, of course. Once again, another airline leaning into the non-alcoholic signature drink. Thai Airways has this flower tea limeade called a Violet Breeze that was just killer. I dozed as much as I could after that, and despite the flight getting in like 45 minutes early, the one time I wanted to take as long as possible, I got in a couple hours of a nap. I also had the lounge in Bangkok all to myself at 5:30 in the morning and got the shower I so badly needed and another hour or so nap in a quiet room they had. Not nearly enough, but not much I could do about it. It's time to go, go, go. All right, here's the situation. I'm here in Bangkok and I have a flight that leaves in about an hour to a place that's going to be really hot. I'm also very tired. I got about 2.5 hours of sleep on my flight. I went to the lounge. I got like an hour kind of half doze. I did get to take a shower though. That was like a big deal. So I'm glad I got to take the shower because I feel a lot better after that. This is gonna be a rough day. I already know this is gonna be a rough day. So I'm just gonna have to get through that. And finally tonight I'll get a full night's sleep, and then the next several nights after that, when I'm with my cousin Greg, I will be able to sleep every night. So I have like a 15-minute walk to my gate here, and then I'm out of here. This airport's huge, and I kind of cut it a little closer than I should have to get on this flight. I think I'm one of the last people to get on here, and I guess there's a bus that I have to take to go out to the plane. So it's a huge airport, and it turns out the lounge is 20 minutes walk away from this terminal. But yeah, we are going to Cambodia. Siem Reap Airport, going to Angkor Wat, which is should be an honorary 7 Wonders of the World, but is not. But as you may have seen by the theming of this trip, it's a kind of a wonders themed trip. So Yeah, I'm about to go out here on the bus. Gonna get Angkor Wat. Gonna sweat myself off all day and try and stay awake. Yeah, I'm gonna sweat all right. The humidity was nuts. Along with my Nairobi day, this was the second of 2 days that I was going to go into after pulling almost, not quite, but almost, an all-nighter the night before. So I knew these were going to be my toughest days. Cambodia day, though, had the added bonus of being one of the most hot and humid days I'd ever experienced, on top of running on no sleep. So I just had to do the best I could and try and be smart and prepare for it. Hello from Siem Reap, Cambodia, where I am hanging out in the airport for a couple of minutes just because I'm just slowing things down today. I don't really want to be outside more than I have to, and I'm going to be outside a lot, so it's going to be hot and humid, and I know today is going to be rough, so just going to deal with it and just going to take it slow. I'm in no rush today. I'm taking a cab down into the town. I'm renting a scooter. Once I get there, I'm just going to kind of putter around all of the temples and just take it easy. So I'm going to go find some water to buy, and then, yeah, like I said, I'm not going to go rushing out there, but I'm pretty much ready to go, and first impressions so far have been pretty awesome for Cambodia. The approach view from the plane was just really cool. It just looks very green and just looks interesting, so I'm looking forward to checking it out. And yeah, the airport's brand new also, second brand new airport in a week, so good first impressions here. The plan today, rent a moped and ride around to a few of the temples. I've never been to Southeast Asia, so I really didn't know what to expect in Cambodia. Would it feel dangerous riding the moped around? Is there a lot of crime to worry about? No and no. I honestly couldn't have been more impressed with this country. Just super chill, friendly people, and felt as safe as anywhere I would go all week. I was really in for a treat all day. So, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but if you can hear me, we are riding a scooter through Siem Reap, Cambodia. I'm going to Angkor Wat. I think it's like a 15-minute ride. I have no idea actually how long it is. I just kind of got directions, and now I'm pointing myself in that direction, and eventually I'm going to end up at Angkor Wat. So, yeah, Cambodia is freaking sweet, man. I mean, of all the places that I've been so far, this one has just top laid-back vibes. And it can kind of have to be laid back when it's this freaking hot. But when you're riding these things, it's definitely cooler. I finally put sunscreen on. All is good. I come to you from a place of wonder, a place of mystique. Some call it the eighth wonder of the world. I call it the snack zone. I've just arrived. I want to have a snack and some water before I go in. And I have a couple of these snacks that I grabbed in Agra before I left. This says bhujia with our original masala. They look like these little, I don't know, like potato spring things. I'm gonna give this a little shot here. Oh, it's good. It tastes just kind of like a noodle, but in like potato form, sort of. That's good. Very mild spice that didn't start for a little while. And then let's see, palak mixture. Indulge your with the heavenly taste of namkeen that bring together magical ingredients generously baked to perfection. Palak mixture. This looks pretty good. This looks like it has some nuts in it or something. We'll give this a go as well. Oh, wow, that's really good. That's what is going on here? It's like a curry kind of flavor. There's definitely nuts in it, and then some other just kind of crispy, like potato chip like things. That's really good. That's like a curry flavored, delicious situation. Yeah, enjoying the snack zone here. And I also have my gigantic Yeti water bottle. I pre-gamed with 2 water bottles before I even left the airport. Filled this with 4 more. Put 2 of my little electrolyte packets in. And now I'm just gonna hang out and go check out Angkor Wat. Thus far, I will say that while it is definitely hot, I may have overhyped the heat. There's still a few degrees to go. It's not quite the hottest part of the day yet. It's like 94 right now. But yeah, it's manageable, especially riding the scooter. Riding the scooter, I mean, it just evaporates the sweat right off you. So that's good. Walking around is probably going to be worse, so maybe I'm underselling it now. But now that I'm here, it's like, whatever. I'll just deal with whatever I have to for a little while. This is very awesome. I'm just very happy to be here. How long must water have been flowing down this same exact path to have it dig that channel in the stone like that? Wild. I can't believe I let you up here. This is the part with the towers, and you can apparently just walk up here, which is pretty wild. The staircase is insane, so that's a choice you have to make for yourself if you want to do that. I also want to add, by the way, that earlier I definitely undersold how hot it really is before I started walking. That was on me, so that was my mistake. It's hot. This is probably the hottest I've ever been in my entire life. Yeah, so also, when I started planning this trip, I really wanted to put Angkor Wat on the list, and so obviously I did. And then as I had to rearrange a couple things here and there were opportunities to remove Angkor Wat so that I could shuffle things around a little better for other things. But each time I did that, I decided not to. And the reason for that is I think this place got screwed out of being one of the new 7 wonders of the world, which was really a popularity contest. There was a vote for it. And this isn't a very populated country. And I think that's the only reason why, because this place is unbelievable. Just for the record, I didn't see a single monkey here either, and I assume it's because monkeys aren't dumb as hell coming out in heat like this. Yeah, we're way more dumb than monkeys. Angkor Wat is the main temple, but there's just so much to see all around the complex. With the moped, it was so easy to just loop around the area and stop at whatever I felt like seeing, so that's just what I did. I made sure to stop at all the big hitters, first being Ta Prohm, also known as the Tomb Raider Temple, as it was the one used in the movie. Then I kept going and went to Bayon Temple. I walked around much more in Ta Prohm, but accidentally got myself turned around and walked twice as far as I needed to. Oops. Doing that in the heat wore me out. By the way, if you're wondering how I was able to record myself while riding the moped, the linen clothes I bought for these hot days had a shirt pocket that fit my phone perfectly and left the lenses out and able to record. After checking out those other 2 temples, I finished the loop through the jungle and took the time to get something to eat. I found this great place called Wild that specialized in some pretty amazing specialty spring rolls. After that, I dropped off the moped, called a car back to the airport, and got ready to move on out. This country is great. This is a great country. I had such an outstanding day here. First of all, this airport is sweet. It is brand new. And just like the rest of Siem Reap and Cambodia, it's very pleasant. It's very nice, very pleasant, like low key. This is a great place. I just had such a good day. Everybody's super friendly. City is very safe. It is a very safe city. People are just like, leaving their scooters and mopeds just kind of forever. And obviously you lock it with the key or whatever, but you're not like locking it to anything or anything like that. There's a bunch of kids that were like 12 years old just riding on their mopeds through the city. Yeah, it was such a cool time. Boy, it was boarding these planes early out here. Going to Hanoi. And I'm gonna sleep forever when I get there. Hello from Hanoi, Vietnam. I don't really have a lot to say at the moment, except this is the first night of real sleep I'm going to have gotten since the start of my trip last Friday night. Which sounds insane, because it is. But I'll be able to get pretty much as much sleep as I want tonight, 8 to 9 hours or so. I'm in a real hotel, an actual, like, very nice hotel, and a nice part of town. I might wake up early enough to walk around for like 10-15 minutes tomorrow morning. That would be nice. If I don't, that's fine, because I'm going to sleep. But also what's nice is the really intense part of my trip is now over. I'm done with the day-to-day travels and insane stuff each day. Tomorrow I'm flying in business class at noon to Seoul. I'm going to see my cousin Greg and his family, and I'm going to be there for 3 whole nights. So I'll actually be able to relax and enjoy the last few days of my trip and breathe a little bit. Good morning, Vietnam, and I am feeling like $1,000,000 today. I'm going to my flight to Seoul, flying on Korean Air in business class, and I would have to say this is probably the one flight that I have looked forward to the most on this whole trip. For a couple of reasons. Reason one is Korean Air is awesome. Reason two is I'm in their business class, which is even more awesome. But reason three is this is like a 4.5-hour flight, which is a pretty nice distance to really actually enjoy the business class. And I'm also not going to have to sleep because it's a daytime flight. So I'm going to be able to actually enjoy all of the perks that business class has to offer. The last two that I had to sleep immediately after we took off. So yeah, actually my plane is right over here. There it is, the Pepsi plane. So heading over there now. It's going to be just such a nice chill day. I'm going to get to Seoul at like 6:30 p.m. or so. It's going to be great. I just made a visit to one of the shops here in the airport and made a couple of very important purchases. And you might suspect that you would be going on a very exciting journey with me right now, and you would be right. But that journey is to the Quack Zone. It's a show within a show where I show you all of the exciting ducks that I purchase on my travels. This is a Vietnamese little guy who has a bottle of Vietnamese Fanta, so he is all set and ready for his flight. I also did purchase a couple of delicious items, hopefully delicious items, that I cannot read. This one I actually grabbed from the lounge. This one, I can't read that at all, but it appears to be some kind of a calamari-looking snack cracker thing, and it's got some squids on it, so I'm guessing it's a seafood-flavored snack that I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy or not, but we're going to give it a go. Next is Orion Custas, which doesn't have any identifying information on it at all, so I guess we'll just figure out together what that is. Next one, we have Kit Kat Milo flavored, which isn't all that exotic. However, Alex and I love Milo. We had it in Australia. It's like an Ovaltine-like drink, and they also have a cereal and whatnot. We loved that out there, so I just wanted to grab one of those. That one's for me, not for any really exciting exotic reasons. Yogurt Skittles, which I've never seen before. I don't know if we have that in the U.S. or not, but they look good, so I grabbed them. And then I asked the lady at the front desk of the shop what her favorite candies were, and she recommended Alpenliebe chews, which look like those chews. I forget what they're called, but those fruit chews with the kind of the inside whatever clear, and then the outside is some flavor. And then these just hard candies that don't look all that exotic again, but they look good. So I'm gonna go with those, and I'll let you know how they are. Yes, this is fantastic. This actually is really similar to the business class I had on Japan Air last year, where you've got a ton of privacy over here by the window, and the footwell is huge. So this is going to be mega comfortable. Looking forward to this flight a lot. I'm having the best day ever. So that business class flight was as good as it gets. I watched a fantastic Korean movie called Big Deal, which was about basically corporate greed and stuff. It was a drama. It was great. I was like super into it. The meal was delicious. Really, really good meal. Had some Korean bibimbap. And Greg is like 3 minutes away from picking me up. I'm very excited to see Greg. The weather is absolutely gorgeous. It is beautiful out. And man, I mean, it just does not get any better than this. And as I was landing, I thought maybe I should just reach out to my cab driver from India if he has an Instagram or anything, just for the hell of it. And he responded pretty quickly. He was like, oh yeah, I do. And so I sent him my link and added each other. He posted 3 hours ago, I'll put a screenshot of what it is, basically saying my English bestie 3 hours ago before I even asked him. I am just sent right now. My chariot awaits. Naturally, my first stop in Korea had to be to get Korean barbecue. Greg had a coworker that recommended a place right up by the airport, so I got to get right off the plane and eat. Then we made the drive down to Pyeongtaek for a good night's sleep before the long day ahead. Yeah, you were good at this last year, and now you're like even bigger.
I don't mind the bees.
Bees? You know what? No, that's fair.
What?
Those bees are the bees' knees.
Ah. No, bees, you're totally right. Bees are friends.
Yeah. Because they help us. They do, they make honey.
Yeah, they do.
And they do love honey.
And if we didn't have bees, we wouldn't have flowers. So, obviously, we need bees.
Fuzzy shit.
These butter caramel ones blow my mind.
3 discs.
Welcome to the snack zone, folks. We have some mini cream sandwiches that Greg has purchased and has told me to try these. So I am going to try one. Here we go. It looks like an Uncrustable, and we're gonna give it a go. We're gonna see how this is. Let's see. Okay, I got none of the cream in that bite, so we're gonna have to try that again. Okay, we're back with take 2. Let's see. Oh wow, that's really, it's like strawberry fluff. We thought it was gonna be like jam, but it's a strawberry fluff. That is outstanding. Have you ever had these?
Yeah. Like a year ago?
Like a year ago. Well, it's not jam. It's definitely the fluff. Yeah. This is an A+. I'm gonna get more of these at some point. Our trip for the day was Sogumsan Mountain, the main event of which was a beautiful springtime hike along the side of a mountain and over a couple huge suspension bridges. Before you get there, though, there were a couple of lighted art installations inside the cable car building, and then a cable car ride up to the top.
I'm kind of scared if I fall down.
You're never gonna fall down this thing. This thing is extra security system.
It's kind of fun.
Don't look down.
Hey, look, our car is out there.
Oh yeah, you can see.
Is it being towed? Look at that bird.
Yeah, there's a bird.
I'm just watching people go by.
Let me just tell you, after melting in Cambodia a day after frying in India, you have no idea how good a perfect spring day in South Korea felt. We are back in the snack zone with bingsu, which I guess is a shaved milk ice kind of situation. We got some apple mango bingsu. We're gonna pour some of the mango juice on the top. And now let's see. Let's give it a shot. What do you think? You think it's good? It's extremely good. I need to pass on to everybody that is a 13 out of 10. That's tremendous. Yeah. Wow. Greg can't believe that I gave it a 13 out of 10. He's surprised that that scale goes that high. But that is real good. After our walk down the mountain, we made a stop at the Icheon Ceramic Festival. That's Icheon, not to be confused with Incheon, where the airport is. The town is famous for having a 500-year history of making traditional pottery. There were dozens of vendors, and all the light posts were surrounded by these sweet ceramic tiles. They also had some food, including one of the more unique things I ate on this trip. So this is a seafood pancake. Seafood, green onions, and vegetable pancake. I have never heard of such a thing. I have multiple hats on because I have Tata's hat on. I gotta wait. So we are gonna go for this. If I can cut it, I might need to pause it to cut it. 1 second. All right, we're back. We're gonna dip it in the sauce situation there. We're gonna give it a go. It actually tastes really good. It doesn't taste very seafoody at all. It tastes more green oniony than anything, but very pancake. Very good. I approve of this big time. A+.
Maybe the mommy knows.
We wrapped up the day with a stop at the store to pick up some snacks for our trip up to the DMZ the next day. I had to grab one of these honey butter potato chips. Actually, let's make it 2 of these. They're amazing. So many good options. We made sure to stock up. For my last full day of the trip, we went over to Osan Air Base to get on the bus that took us up to the DMZ. Greg and I went last year too and did all the same stuff, like the 3rd tunnel, which North Korea dug to prepare for an underground invasion. But last year the smog was insane and we couldn't see our noses in front of our faces. Seriously, take a look at the difference from last year to this year. With the visibility all good this year, the girls came along this time too. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special Korean DMZ edition of the Snack Zone. We have Elena, we have Katarina, and we have honey butter almonds. They have honey butter potato chips, which are outstanding, and we're going to try these as well. And everybody is going to give their review of the honey butter almonds. So go ahead. I need the review of your.
I don't want to.
You don't want to try them? All right, you can be our observer. What do you think?
This is really good.
It's really good. Was review number 1. Review number 2. The first taste test. It's very savory and slightly sweet, like honey butter. Those are really good. The potato chips that they had were like outstanding, and these are just as good. This is a matcha flavored ice cream. Thank you, Greg. We're gonna give this a try.
You're gonna need a double hand for that one.
I'm gonna need a double hander. Oh, that is unexpected. That tastes extremely like tea, which for whatever reason I didn't think was going to taste like, but it does. So I'm gonna give that one a 5 out of 10. It's solid, but I think I like the vanilla better. Finally, after years of wanting to see North Korea with my own eyes, I finally got to make it happen. There were binoculars at the top of the Dora Observatory to look across the military demarcation line to see into North Korea, but we were so close you didn't even need them. You could easily see the North Korean flagpole and the villages across the river. We could even see people through the viewers though. At one point we saw a couple North Koreans in a field fighting with each other. I had seriously been looking forward to this for years and years, so this was a huge moment for me. As we headed back to Osan Air Base after the tour, Greg got a notification from the base that there was a gathering of people outside the front gate in support of the US-Korean military partnership. So we thought that would be cool to check out. If I had a nickel for every time I found myself in the middle of a crowd of happy people waving flags on this trip, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right? For dinner, we went out for my favorite Korean meal other than barbecue, Korean fried chicken. Folks, we have Korean fried chicken, and I fear that we may have overcooked it in the fried chicken. There's a lot of fried chicken. I thought this was going to be a smaller plate of fried chicken. It's like 3 complete meals of fried chicken. How's the fried chicken, everybody? It's an 11 out of 10. I'm going to give a bite of the fried chicken. That is hot. It's hot. I'm going to try and give it a bite for the snacks on here while it's extremely hot. Oh my god. That's the honey chicken. I think that's the honey chicken. Whatever, it's my favorite. And that is outstanding.
It's honey chicken, soy chicken.
Honey, soy, and regular. Tremendous. This is the best possible way to have dinner on my last night here in Korea. Hi everybody. Maybe it'll explode. Oh my god! Oh! I was not expecting that. And that's it. It's time to go home. Greg and I made the early morning drive to Seoul Incheon Airport, and I was on my way. I'm back here all by my lonesome. Greg dropped me off at the airport, and sadly, I'm actually going back home. This time I'm actually just got a non-stop out of Seoul. I'm not going to go to Tokyo. I thought about it. If I could find a business class flight, I was going to do it, but I actually couldn't. This is pretty much peak time of year to fly in and out of Asia, so I couldn't find any business class award flights. But a non-stop morning flight out of Seoul is honestly a pretty good other option. So here's our departures board, and funny enough, I'm the only one on the entire board that is delayed, but only 25 minutes. Come on, there we go. New York JFK, 14 and a half hours. Yeah, in economy, yeah. Jesus, this is a nice airport. Like, this is a really nice airport. Last year I was in the other terminal, which was fine. This is beautiful. Look at this. Going to the lounge. Immigration and security took, kind of a while, but the line was huge. And they got us through really, really efficiently. Now I'm going to the lounge, chilling out there. 25-minute delay on the flight. Not too bad, I'll probably make that up. Should be a good day. Should be a good day. One of my favorite things about this airport is like all of the little carts drive by playing these little songs. A lot of them actually play Furry Elise, like most of them do. Not just here, there's a couple other places I noticed that outside the airport. But I enjoy that. I think that's very pleasant. Time to go home. Not too bad for such a long flight. Watched a couple movies and took a nap, and we were almost there. One interesting thing is that Asiana plays these pre-landing stretching videos, which most people participated in. I like it. Can we get some of that in America? After landing at JFK, I had a pretty tight window to catch a few back-to-back trains to get myself home. If I missed one, I'd lose hours of time. So the race was on. Okay, I'm at JFK Airport, but the travel day is not yet done. The race is actually on right now. I'm trying to get a train from Jamaica Station on Long Island Railroad to Grand Central to catch a train on Metro North to New Haven. I just jumped ahead from Terminal 1 to Terminal 8, seeing if I can skip one of the earlier trains that goes to Jamaica to get me there a little earlier. I have like probably 15 minutes to get one train, another 12 or so to get another one. It's gonna be close. Well, I had to sprint across the platform, but there was a Jamaica-bound air train right here when I got here. So now that earlier train might be a possibility, maybe. I think, like I said, I think I got like 12 minutes. I don't know if this is going to get to Jamaica in time for me to get on the train, but we are going to find out. Oh my God, I made it. That was a mad dash. Walked up here right as the train's getting here. All right, so this is going to take me to Grand Central in 20 minutes. And then I'm going to have another mad dash. That's going to be, I think, an 11-minute mad dash through Grand Central to catch my train to New Haven. But boy, if I make both of these connections, what a miracle that'll be. All right, let's see how long this takes to run through this concourse and get to the Metro North. Let's rock and roll. I don't exactly remember where I'm going, but we're gonna figure it out on the fly. I see signs for Metro North. That's already a good start. Now, I remember this taking like 10 minutes or more before, but allegedly it's less insane now. Let's see. Okay. I'm on a gigantic escalator. Train actually got in 3 minutes early. So I actually think I'm gonna be okay, but I don't want to jinx it. Knock on wood. All right, back at it. Yeah, that's what we want. On another escalator. I actually think this takes me right to the main concourse. So in reality, this is gonna take like 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. So I don't know what happened to me last time, but last time maybe I just got lost. I don't know. It's a couple years ago. Maybe they're still doing construction. We're almost there. Now I remember this. I was just here like a week ago. Wow, what a life. Man, it's crazy. Yes. Do you like apples, ladies and gentlemen? Because how do you like them apples? I got like 8 minutes to spare. I'm going home, baby. At long last, back in New Haven where the trip began. I got pretty lucky that absolutely everything went right along the way on this trip, but I feel like a lot of the time you really make your own luck. Yeah, I had some tight connections that could have blown things up, but I always had a plan that I could pivot to if something went wrong so that I'd keep on moving and keep seeing new sights. Last year I said I didn't know if I'd feel the need to go around the world again soon, and it just took a year for the bug to get me itching to do it again. This time, now that I'm home, I've already got some ideas for what I want to do next, so we'll see what happens.